Good Wednesday, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversation Daily News. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. Well, it's a brand new day, it's a brand new month, and I hope you guys are enjoying your hump day so far. We, of course, have your news headlines coming up on this Wednesday. We have the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and in today's Entertainment Spotlight, he's being part of my conversation with Amy Taylor of the Truth Initiative, talking with us about the youth vaping epidemic that is sweeping this country. Enjoy today's broadcast. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Wednesday headlines. In national news, Biden praises airlift, defends departure from forever war. Addressing the nation, a defensive President Joe Biden on Tuesday called the U.S. military airlift to extract more than 120,000 Afghans, Americans, and other allies to end a 20-year war an extraordinary success, though more than 100 Americans and thousands of Afghans looking to leave remain. 24 hours after the departure of the last American C-17 cargo plane from Kabul, Biden vigorously defended his decision to end America's longest war and withdraw all U.S. troops ahead of an August 31st deadline. "I am not going to extend this forever war," Biden said in an address from the White House dining room, "and I was not going to extend a forever exit." Biden has faced tough questions about the way the U.S. went about leaving Afghanistan, a chaotic evacuation and spasms of violence, including a suicide bomb that killed 13 American service members and 169 Afghans. He is under heavy criticism, particularly from Republicans, for his handling of the evacuation, though he successfully airlifted more than 120,000 people from Kabul airport. But he said it was inevitable that the final departure from 2 decades of war would be difficult with likely violence, no matter when it was planned and conducted. To those asking for a third decade of war in Afghanistan, I ask, what is the vital national interest, Biden said. He added, "I simply do not believe that the safety and security of America is enhanced by continuing to deploy thousands of American troops and spending billions of dollars in Afghanistan." In addition to all the questions at home, Biden is also adjusting to a new relationship with the Taliban, the Islamic militant group that the U.S. toppled after the September 11, 2001 attacks, and that is now once again in power in Afghanistan. The last Air Force transport plane departed Kabul 1 minute before midnight Monday, raising questions about why Biden didn't continue the airlift for at least another day. He had set Tuesday as a deadline for ending the evacuation and pulling out remaining troops after the Taliban took over the country. In more national news, Ida's sweltering aftermath: no power, no water, no gasoline. Hundreds of thousands of residents in Louisiana sweltered in the aftermath of Hurricane Ida on Tuesday with no electricity, no tap water, precious little gasoline, and no clear idea of when things might improve. Long lines that wrapped around the block formed at the few gas stations that had fuel and generator power to pump it. People cleared rotting food out of refrigerators. Neighbors shared generators and borrowed buckets of swimming pool water to bathe or to flush toilets. We have a lot of work ahead of us, and no one is under the illusion that this is going to be a short process, Governor John Bel Edwards said as the cleanup and rebuilding began across the soggy region in the oppressive late summer heat. New Orleans officials announced 7 places around the city people could get a meal and sit in air conditioning. More than 1 million homes and businesses in Louisiana and Mississippi, including all of New Orleans, were left without power when Ida slammed the electric grid on Sunday with its 150 miles per hour winds, toppling a major transmission tower and knocking out thousands of miles of lines and hundreds of substations. In more national news, U.S. commits to $60 million in aid to Ukraine before White House visit. The United States is promising up to $60 million in military aid to Ukraine in advance of a White House meeting between President Joe Biden and his counterpart. The Biden administration said in a notification to Congress that the aid package for Ukraine was necessary because of a major increase in Russian military activity along its border and because of mortar attacks, ceasefire violations, and other provocations. The Ukrainian president is set to meet Biden as part of a White House visit that the administration hopes will demonstrate support for Ukraine's sovereignty in the face of Russia's seizure of Crimea and backing of armed separatists in the country's east. The White House has also said that Biden intends to encourage the Ukrainian president to tackle corruption in the country. And finally, in entertainment news, Alicia Keys' adapt Girl on Fire into young adult novel. For Alicia Keys, Girl on Fire isn't just a million-selling single, but the title and inspiration for a young adult graphic novel scheduled for next year. HarperCollins Publishers announced Tuesday that Girl on Fire, the story of 14-year-old Lola Wright and her telekinetic powers, will come out March 1st. The book is co-written by Anthony Weiner and illustrated by Brittany Williams. When I wrote Girl on Fire, I knew I was writing it for that girl in the way back row who needed someone to tell her there's nothing you can't do, that nothing is impossible, Keys said in the statement. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's on time for the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich. Mary Ellen, take it away.
Hi, this is Mary Ellen with your Truth of the Day. Act on your desire to make a difference. It doesn't matter if you want to help the less fortunate or make progress in your own personal goals. The point is to take action. Let go of staying stuck and being ineffective. When you do something, especially for someone else, you will feel empowered and satisfied. When you give of yourself without expectations of being acknowledged, you feel satisfied, and any sense of depression lifts. You accomplished making a difference today. Feel grateful for all the blessings in your life and share this goodwill with others. Today, give up your time or other resources by asking where help is necessary and pitching in to do what you can. Go about and enjoy the day.
Amy Taylor from the Truth Initiative is featured in today's Entertainment Spotlight, working on Conversations Daily News. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with the Entertainment Spotlight. Amy Taylor, Chief of Community Engagement at Truth Initiative, joined me recently on Conversations Live, the radio show, to talk about the recent news about the youth vaping epidemic that is sweeping this country. Here's a bit of our conversation. How did we get to the point, Amy, where we now have a national youth vaping epidemic, and what can we do about it?
Yeah, as you said in the opening, nearly 20% of high school students are vaping, and as the Surgeon General said, this is an epidemic. And much of the news today is around the pandemic that's happened, which is, of course, very important. But this is also a big problem as young people head back to school this fall. And part of the problem is that e-cigarettes are highly addictive, and that is very dangerous for the young brain. And e-cigarettes come in fruity flavors like cherry and grape, and that's very enticing to young people. The other thing that we're very concerned about is a recent study shows that those young people who are vaping are 7 times more likely to start smoking combustible cigarettes. So this is a big problem. We're worried about when young people get back to school, they'll be in the bathrooms with their friends, they'll be sharing the vapes, and we want parents to know about it.
Talk to us a little bit about the Truth Initiative and the Truth Campaign, if you don't mind.
Sure. The Truth Initiative is the largest nonprofit public health organization dedicated to achieving a culture where young people reject smoking, vaping, and nicotine. And we've been around for 20 years. You may know us from our advertising, our commercials. Certainly, your kids and kids in your community have seen it, and we've been successful.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning in to this edition of Conversations Daily News. We'll have you guys on tomorrow with more news, Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and of course your Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today. Let's make it a great one.